This is the Marlin 795 automatic bolt close modification. Here's my 795. We'll go ahead and safety check it. You can see there's nothing in there. Close the bolt, and since I've already done the magazine disconnect, I can pull the trigger without a magazine inserted. Normally on the 795, when you have an empty magazine and you fire your last shot, the bolt holds open on its own. When you insert a fresh magazine, this one has a snap cap. The only way to close the bolt is to actuate the bolt release. You cannot close it by merely pulling back on the charging handle and releasing, which is how most semi-automatic firearms work. This modification will allow you to do that. One disclaimer is that by doing this, the user assumes all liability and will most likely void your warranty. I should also point out that since this modification isn't something done with factory springs or parts, it can take a little trial and error to find exactly the right materials and exactly how to bend them for it to work. Before we get started, let's go over some parts and tools. It's good to have a pair of needle nose pliers. Some linesman's pliers are good also. Diagonal cutters, regular pliers, and one or two different sized flathead screwdrivers. It might come in handy also to have a pair of vice grips. The other thing you're going to want is the new spring. This one that I'm trying is from Menards. It's part number 88260. It's a 3/8 inch by 1 1/4 inch compression spring. Details. Part 88260. It is a little long, but we can always trim it down. So that's the part we're going to be using. Alright, let's get started. First, you need to disassemble your 795. If you haven't done this before, make sure that you release the trigger on a safe firearm. Okay. Then there's two takedown screws underneath the 795. You merely unscrew these. Front one and the rear one. They are different sizes. The rear one is longer than the front. It's an easy way to remember. And I haven't tried installing them backwards, but my guess would be you could not put the rear one in the front. You can see this is the front and this is the rear. Alright, to remove the trigger guard, you can see there's a cutout here. You're going to have to pull up, work around the bolt catch release and the magazine release, and pull that out. You can put that aside, we won't be using that. And now you simply separate the stock from the action and the barrel. We won't need the stock, so you can set that aside also. Right. We don't actually need the receiver or the barrel, so we're just going to take off this part. Sometimes this pin that you need to push out can be tough, and a screwdriver can help. Go. Get the pin started. Sometimes you can pull it out from the other side, or sometimes you also have to keep pushing. There we go. Pin comes out, just set that aside. To remove this assembly, you can see there are some locking lugs up front. You're just going to rotate the rear upward and pull back. Now we don't need the receiver or the barrel assembly, so we'll just set that aside also. If this is well oiled, you can go ahead and wipe it down. If you want, it'll give you an easier grip on it. You can always oil it up at the end. You can see on mine the magazine disconnect modification's already been done. This tab is bent up, allowing the rifle to fire with the magazine removed. Yours might be bent down. That's not a big deal. It won't get in our way. First thing to do is to take off the magazine disconnect bar here. To do that, if you look underneath, you can see connected to that bar is this piece with the tension or torsion spring residing in that cutout. We're just going to push that torsion spring down and over to release the tension. I'd put my thumb or a finger over here so that when you're pushing the spring over, it doesn't fly off. There you go. And that could just flip out of the way. Now this can easily be removed. You're just going to get this piece out of the lip there and swing that free. That allows us to get to this piece right here. Alright, this is the detent spring for the bolt catch and release. You can see there's two cutaways here, a down or allows the bolt to close position and an up which catches the bolt. And it's kind of held in that place by this detent spring which pushes outward.